Hey everybody, hope your day's going well. You're back with another reaction. We're checking out another video on the You Can't Unhear This YouTube channel. Check it out. Link is in the description. I've reacted to a few videos on this channel and learned a few things about certain Beatles songs and certain ghost solos in this case, or like anomalies or things left in, or just the recording process of certain songs. Really interesting to learn about. This is Let It Be's Ghost guitar solo. Mystery explained. I didn't even know there was a mystery. But anywho, I love this song, as do many's. I think this was kind of the song that kicked off the Beatles journey for me on my music reaction channel. And since then, it's, yeah, they've become my favorite band. It's amazing how that happened. And I'm very grateful for it. And now I'm exploring some of their solo work as well, and recording reactions for McCartney, the first album of Paul's, after they split up, and All Things Must Pass by George Harrison. So, yeah, the journey continues in that way, but, I want to learn more about them as well. And this song has become a staple in my house. My daughter pretty much knows all the words now to this song. So, yeah, we're passing it on, man. We're passing it on. Let's check this out.
Let It Be. It's one of the most well-known Beatles songs. You've likely heard it countless times before, but there's an odd anomaly in it that you might not have noticed. And as a fair warning, once I point it out, you can't unhear this. The anomaly has to do with the guitar solo that begins about halfway through the song. If you listen very closely, you can hear the faint remnants of an earlier erased guitar solo in the background. It's easier to hear on the single version, so let's use that first.
Oh,
Now I'm going to isolate the left.
I can hear it like in the middle almost. You can hear the guitar on the right, and then I hear those notes there indeed. But you would never know if it's the ghost. It's just like part of the sound, right? It's immersive.
Now I'm going to isolate the left channel so you can hear it even better. Did you hear it? Now
I thought it was part of the track.
The song, but this time from the version that appears on the album Let It Be, which features a different guitar solo. Although the two versions have completely different guitar solos, for reasons that I'll get into later.
I didn't even know that.
Faint ghost guitar solo in the background. So what's going on? Well, to explain, we need to do a little digging into the song's rather complicated recording history. Paul McCartney wrote Let It Be during the tail end of the White Album sessions in late 1968, but the song wasn't recorded by the full band until early 1969, at the start of the ill-fated Get Back project.
Yeah, I did watch that documentary, Get Back. That was, yeah, it was. I mean, they had some issues there, getting along at certain times, and George walking off and stuff. But, there was so many great moments in it when they were having fun. I know there was like hundreds of hours of footage, and, to cut it down, I don't know how many hours, but it was a lot. They said in the beginning, but it's been more than a year since I've seen it. But they were having so much fun at certain times, and just messing around, and seeing those songs come to life bit by bit, repeating, working on it, just being, almost part of the creative process as a fly on the wall. That is amazing to see that come up, oh, let's change a word here, or let's do that, or just making up, nonsense lyrics for a song, all these things. That was so much fun to watch.
At the start of the ill-fated Get Back project, which, true to its name, was meant to be a return to roots for the band, forgoing the more complex, experimental approach of Sgt. Pepper's or the White Album, and instead performing songs live together as a group, without tape loops, sound effects, or overdubs.
I mean, the White Album also have this get back to, I wouldn't say basics, but a little bit more to the roots, doesn't it? It has certain experimental songs, but, compared to the albums before that, I think, there was already doing that. I love that they did that, by the way. Like, we can do it all. We can do it all.
And so on January 31st, 1969, the group convened to record the master take of Let It Be, with Paul on piano, John on a rare bass guitar performance, George Harrison on electric guitar, Ringo on drums, and special guest Billy Preston on organ. Unfortunately, the Get Back project soon became mired in drama, and so Let It Be, along with a bunch of other songs, were basically shelved for almost a year. In early 1970, the band revisited the Get Back project and finally finished off the songs that they had started a year earlier. As for Let It Be, however, they ended up releasing two strikingly different versions of the song. The first, released on March 6th, was the single, produced and mixed by longtime Beatles producer George Martin.
There will be an answer, let it be.
2 months later, a second version of the song was released on the Let It Be album, which was released after the Beatles had announced their breakup. This version was mixed by legendary producer Phil Spector, who was brought in at the last minute to assemble the album. In keeping with his trademark wall of sound style, he added a noticeable echo, which can be heard best on Ringo's hi-hat.
There will be an answer, let it be.
But the most striking difference between the two versions are the guitar solos. So that you can hear the difference more clearly, I've put the single version in the left channel and the album version in the right channel.
Oh, interesting.
They line up perfectly because both versions of the song actually use the same backing track, the one recorded back in 1969. Oddly enough, though, despite the original Get Back spirit of avoiding overdubbed instruments, both solos were recorded on later dates. 3 months after they recorded the January 1969 backing track, George returned to the studio to record a new guitar solo, which was overdubbed onto the backing track, replacing his original solo from that session. Jumping ahead about 9 months later to January 4th, 1970, George Harrison recorded yet another version of his guitar solo, still over the same backing track from January 1969. So to recap, at this point, George had recorded at least 3 different guitar solos. When it came time to mix the single, George Martin preferred George Harrison's more restrained April 1969 solo, while Phil Spector took Harrison's raunchier, grittier solo from January 1970. And so that's how we ended up with the two versions.
Interesting.
But what about that ghost solo I mentioned earlier? What you're hearing are the remnants of the original solo, likely picked up by the other microphones in the studio used during the recording of the backing track. Despite efforts to erase it, the louder portions of the solo still bleed through. If this all wasn't crazy enough, there was yet another version of the song mixed by a third producer, Glenn Johns,
Oh, yeah,
who was
yeah.
hired early on to assemble the Get Back project.
I checked out some of the Glenn Johns mixes as well. Which was the one? Oh, the Get Back song. I really liked his mix of that. Yeah. And Don't Let Me Down too. I like that one as well. Right.
His multiple attempts to finish the album, though, were all rejected by the Beatles and have never been officially released. In 2003, Paul
They
McCartney...
weren't officially released. Oh, of Let It Be, but the Get Back and the Don't Let Me Down, wasn't that officially released? What? Which one did I listen to then? And there's just so much out there, that I haven't even listened to any of the naked versions here. I mean, is there any other band or artist that there are so many alternate takes out? I mean, there are bands, but I don't think it comes close to what's out there of the Beatles. I'm not sure. Let me know. I just don't know enough, but there's so much to go through, and I don't know sometimes where to start.
He produced a stripped-down version of the album.
I did the studio
called Let
albums
It Be
first,
Naked,
of course.
which features alternate takes of the original songs and a few songs that didn't make it onto the original album.
Okay.
Believe it or not, the naked version of Let It Be features yet another guitar solo from a previously unreleased alternate take in January 1969. You really start to wonder, couldn't they just, let it be? All messiness
That was
aside,
the
Let It Be
obvious
still
joke there,
stands the
but it's
test of
funny.
time as one of the Beatles' greatest hits, despite the irony of it being released just days before Paul announced his departure from the Beatles, in one of the most acrimonious breakups in music history. I hope this episode has shed some light onto the mystery of the many guitar solos and the reasons for so many versions of this song. Which version do you prefer best? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel You Can't Unhear This, and check the links in the description below to purchase the track and help support my channel.
Cool video once again, and it's cool to learn about all these different versions. And sometimes I can't see the trees through the forest anymore with some of these alternate tracks, and but I love listening to them though. It's a great song. It's one of the best songs among the best songs ever, not only in their catalog but just in music history. And it's a song that helps a lot of people, when you're going through it, and that surrender and acceptance. It's an absolutely amazing song. Yeah. Thank you for hanging out with me. If you have any other suggestions, let me know. Hope to see you there. Goodbye.